So just a quick video. So this is the signal out the box, all connected up to the power pack. So as directed by Dapol, they do suggest it's between 9 and 12 volts DC. So I'm actually selected 9 volts. I've just trimmed it down a little bit, power supply. I've got the PCB, which is there. There's the input from the little power pack that goes into the PCB board there. I've got the red and black wires into one of the terminals there. And there's our 2 switches. So if you can use momentary push switches, but I've got these. So what we can do is simply do this. Actually, it comes off to a green. And if we do the other one, the other switch, we get this. Both green. But here's the cool thing. When you put them back, they've got that distinctive little semaphore momentary delayed clonk. Like so. Watch this. I love that. You see that little momentary little delay at the end? That's not a fault. That's how a semaphore signal's supposed to counterbalance and drop. I love that. I'll just turn the light off so we can see. That's quite a nice little glow, isn't it? We could step up the voltage to 12 volts max, but I think at 9 volts that works beautifully. And it also gives the a proper realistic glow off the LEDs. We could step it down even further and just reduce the voltage, but 9 volts seems to be the ideal power setting. That's green. That train's gone past and we'll reset that. I love it. Beautiful, isn't it? That's fantastic. Let's put the light back on. So there we go. There's my little Dapol motorized signal. It's not in position on the layout yet, but I'm going to do that in a little bit. And then in the next vid, I'm going to have these all in position and working. I say all. I've spoken to my financial backer. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but I'm going to be ordering the rest of the signals tomorrow and get cracking on a proper resig project. So yeah, but very excited to show you this. It's absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I thought? Hang on, let me just bring this off the shelf a minute. With one hand very carefully. I'll just put it down like that. And then what I'll do, I'll just unplug the power source. Momentarily, the lights go out, which is what it's supposed to do. Right, I'll just show you something really important. I thought the signals had a fault in the fact that the LEDs weren't lighting up. And I thought, But then I looked at the instructions that came in the box, and it says basically you have to push fit and gently press the cylinder part underneath, which goes to the baseboard. This bit here, you've got to actually gently push down, and you'll hear it click into this base here. And that's what was making the contact for the LEDs and everything else working nicely. So that is a beautiful, beautiful signal, and I'm so pleased with these. It's going to look even better once I put it on the layout. So that's really, really good. Let me just stop this a second, okay, and I'll carry on. Wow. Okay, I just had to pause the video while I gently unclicked it from the main servo unit. That's the main servo unit, and it very cleverly has a yellow strip there which helps you identify the base of that signal that goes into the corresponding alignment in the hole. And also, if you look at it from the top shot there's 3 pins and they go around a certain way, so that you can't go wrong with that. And my problem was I had it sat in the hole, but I was too frightened to push it down in case I broke it. No, you have to push it down gently until you feel and hear it go click, and it sits in there nice and tight up against those contact pins in there. But that's it basically connected up. Extending the power supply, that is not a problem because I can just easily just put some wire on that. What might be a bit tricky is these 3-pole switches, or there's 3 wires on there. It's a simple on switch, or basically it just, you've got 3 wires there. You've got the, let's have a look, you have on my camera, you've got a brown on the right, yellow in the middle and orange on the far left. So what I might have to do, it's not a problem, because all I can do is basically, folks, is just desolder those wires on there. Just desolder 1, 2 and 3, and then remember what sequence they have to be. I'll probably take a snapshot of that. Not even that, no, because, excuse me for a second, but where is it now? I'm sitting on it. These instructions actually tell you inside, if I can just open it out with one hand on the camera and the other hand multitasking and getting all this gumph out before you today. Right, again, a nice little wiring diagram. So this tells you, as you can see, folks, you've got a latch-in switch. It tells you the way the wire should go round on that diagram side. You've got an alternative wiring diagram for that, gives you the wiring up. Simple alternative 2, which is a single pole double throw, which is basically what that is. And then you've got a signal lever, if you want to have it the old signal box style, which I suppose I could do, but the way I'm going to go for it, to be honest with you, is it's tempting to get some miniature levers and do it like that, but a lot of the, if I'm going to get some miniature levers, the ones that I was thinking about originally, I can't think of their name, the company. It will come to me after the bloody video, but there's a nice little miniature engineer company that do 00 and O gauge metal frame mimic levers, you know, like in a box. They're with the slide rockers and everything, and the latching levers. But you need to get, I think, some micro switches for that, and then follow up the diagram from that, which is not a problem, but it's a bit too fiddly. I could do it technically, but I think the most simplest thing to do is, like, for example, on eBay, I've seen some nice, really decent momentary push button switches, like what you're seeing here in the diagram. These kind of things, a simple button where you push it and it changes it, momentary contacts. You can use it that way. So, like, I think for about £12 you get about 24 in the pack. I'm not interested with the ones that light up when you push them on and they go out when you push it off. All I'm interested in is the darn thing making the contact, and I know what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is make a mimic panel up in a piece of balsa wood and just fit them, and then accordingly do a mimic track diagram, like in a box. So every signal box has got a diagram, like a little mimic panel above the levers or the push button panel, and it tells you what the points do and where they are. So on a modern power box, normally the old style 1960s signal boxes that I used to work in when I first started out on the railway, for example, Hackney Downs had a big long panel, and it had all the point switches and buttons for the signals built into the panel. And when it came to a junction on the map, there was a signal and a points lever switch that you operated for the points and the signals. So if I can incorporate that into the diagram on the panel, which is pretty simple to do, I think that's what I'm going to go for. But anyway, this is the most crucial stage of one of these signals, is getting it out the box nicely and seeing if everything works. Now, so far, mine is really, really in good condition. As you can see, it's brand new signal and it's doing exactly what it says on the tin it should do. I don't get where people say, oh, these are problems, they don't work and everything like that, but I don't see a problem with these. And to be honest with you, I can't fault these so far. These are really nice. The only thing I'm thinking about over the period of time, I'm not going to do it now, guys, but I'm thinking about doing this over a period of time. Actually, again, this is just me. I'm thinking about over a period of time, once this gets installed onto the layout, I am thinking possibly about getting some matte black rail match paint, and with a fine sable brush which I've got, is just gently going over these signal wires, because they should be black, not really shiny bright metal colour. You don't notice them that much, but just me being pedantic, because obviously I started out in a signalling background on the railway. But these are cracking signals. Again, I know I did a video earlier of these, but these are fantastic. Just love these. I think I had a choice between these and the Great Western type semaphores. The Great Westerns are what you call lower quadrants, where when the signals are in the off position, they're actually they hang down, I believe. These are upper quadrants, which when they're in the off position, they look like that. These are the closest thing the Dapol signal range do to the LNER Eastern region type signals. These are London Midland region signals, but we could just about get away with using them. Only thing is, the London North Eastern Railway, it would have had the lattice posts on there, and I'm not sure if they do those. I've not seen them in the range, but anyway, the cunning plan is, guys, is tomorrow, after speaking to my financial advisor, I'm going to make an order with Rails of Sheffield, because I found out on there they're damn sight cheaper than Amazon. So if you want something like this for your railway, head over to Rails of Sheffield. Shout, plug. No, seriously, they are really reasonable. I think they're about £15 something cheaper than what I paid for on Amazon. But now you know. So I'm going to head over to there tomorrow, and I'm going to hopefully do an order and get. I need about, I think, I think about 8 signals in total I need. So I'm going to go and get my rest of my resig bits tomorrow online. I'm going to order them, and then that'll give me something to get stuck into for the next 2 weeks probably. But in between that, hopefully I'll upload some videos and we'll get that going. But looking at all things possible, this was what was worrying me a lot. Obviously, when I do the rewire, these will say exactly the same way, and that won't be touched, and obviously that won't be touched. All we're doing is taking the ends of what comes out of here and just extending the power right the way with some cables to reach this. And then these control wires, all we're going to do is most likely desolder these wires off these tags, which is easy. I probably, to be honest with you, if you look at that shot there on my camera and your screen at home, I've got orange on the far left, yellow in the middle, brown on the right. So what I'll do is take a screenshot of that, for example, before I desolder and deconnect anything. Always take a photograph of something, especially wiring, even house wiring or normal wiring around the house. If you're going to rewire something, take a screenshot of the wiring of the diagram or whatever it is you're going to plan to rewire or extend. So if you're not sure, if it's more than 2 wires, you can think, okay, we need to cross-reference. So take a picture of that like that, say okay, and then once you've screenshotted it, then you can do your extending work, and then we can say, right, for example, we can go red and black and then another black wire, and that way we know. It doesn't matter for that sense, but as long as we connect the right wires up when we extend it. So for example, we look at this as the crow flies, and that piece of cable in there is actually twisted round, because the orange wire should go on the far right and the yellow in the middle and brown on the left. Yeah, that's because it's physically not twisted round, because I haven't straightened it out because it's been curled up in the pack. But if you look at it there, that section there, you can clearly see the orange wire is on the far right, the yellow in the middle and the brown on the left hand side last tag. So what you'd need to do is just make sure your extension bit of wire corresponds to those cables and is correctly fitted up to the switch as it should be. So if we follow those rules, in all things given, we should be okay. But I'm certainly not going to pay blinking just nigh on £13 on Amazon just for a single extension cable, which is about 2 meters, which works out, let's see, 6 foot, 0.56. So 6 feet, 6.5 feet basically. So it's easier for me to, I've got loads of wire up in top of my wardrobe on a reel, what I've used for my railway wiring for lighting and stuff, and it's perfect for point motors and stuff like this. As long as you get it round the right way and make the connection, it shouldn't be a problem. But we're going to have some fun with these, I really am. But anyway, I'm going to stop the video now and I'm going to get this fitted up on the layout, and I've just tested it in front of you guys so you can see how it works. If you couldn't wait till it goes on the railway and you're dying to see what it does, there it is. So there it is, all lights and everything. So yeah, that should look nice, even better when we stick it on the layout and it's doing its thing. Yeah. We don't need to have a rectifier with this, because obviously this little power supply, which is very good, that's what I meant to show you earlier on, was this bit. See, now I've got that set, can you see that at home? Where the arrow is pointing, it says 9 volts. So the last notch on there is the full 12 volts, but you can even drop it down further to like 7.5. It will work on 7.5, but I'm guessing the LEDs won't glow so bright. So at 9 volts, as recommended, again, just to reiterate my point, Dapol recommend, if you've got a 12 volt power supply, trim it down to 9 and you'll get it working really lovely. And we just saw that, didn't we? So it's a job done, and I'm a very happy chappy. So I'm going to crack on now, and it's time for me to swap caps and take off my driver's hat and put on my S&T hat and go and install this bad boy. Right, I've got to get to work, and I shall see you in the next video. And thanks, by the way, for joining in today. Does mean a lot. And all the best. Take care. Bye bye.